Hi everybody, welcome to the LNROOM. I'm Tony Alden, and today in this episode 13 we're going to try to understand how the class LightningRpc from the package pyln-client is implemented. This class implements RPC clients for LightningD daemon. It connects to LightningD through a Unix socket and passes the calls through. So what does that mean? Here we can look at that through this example, which is a plugin written with a pyln-client that defined a method named nodeID, and that method only returned the node ID of the node running the plugin. So this is possible because of the RPC property of the instance plugin that is instantiated with that class that we want to learn about, which is LightningRpc. And thanks to that, we can call the method getInfo of that class, which send to LightningD the request getInfo with no params, with params null, and we get back the answer from LightningD, and we only use the ID. So first, let's run that plugin. So here in the terminal, we have a Python environment .vamp with a pyln-client already installed and activated. We've sourced the script startup regtest, which from Lightning repository, which let us start two nodes on Lightning on the Bitcoin regtest. So here, by running startln, we are exactly doing this. Then we are going to first look at L1 CLI. So this is the aliases for Lightning CLI for the first node, with LightningD being a temporary L1 regtest. And now we can start the plugin this way. And if the plugin works correctly, we should have the node ID. So how this is possible? So we go back to my plugin, and everything that matters today for us is what happened in that line. So the plugin.rpc. So first of all, we are going to look at plugin-rpc when that property is instantiated. So here we don't see it. But, well, this happened when we run the plugin, and the plugin.run, as we've seen in the two previous videos, does an IO loop with LightningD. And first, we received the get manifest request. We answer in that case by registering the node ID method. Then the plugin, the LightningD, sends us back the init request with the information of the configuration of our node. And with that information, we can have the socket files of our node that we can use to connect through Unix sockets. So this happens when we treat the init request after receiving the init request from LightningD. So let's look at pyln in our virtual environment. Pyln, we want the client. So here, this is our package in our virtual environment. We go in the plugin files that we've already seen in the previous video, in the plugin class, and we know that this is that method which is used to to handle the init request from LightningD. So a bunch of stuff happen. We receive the configuration of our node, and from that configuration here, we set the RPC file name and the Lightning dir. So with that done, now we can connect to our to LightningD through Unix socket. So we can make the path, and here is the moment where we instantiate the method RPC with LightningRpc and the path, which is the socket file. So to see what is that socket file, we can just modify a little bit this part of the class plugin. We are just going to print out, not in the output of the standard output, because it is used along with the standard in by LightningD to communicate with the plugin. So we are going to print the path, to write the path in that file, temporary my plugin out, and see the socket file. So just to be clear that this is something that we need to do that communication and to get the node ID of our node, because we have three things to do: connect through Unix sockets. So we need the socket files of the node, and then we are going to send the request get info, and we are going to also treat to receive the answer to that request. So these are the three things that we are going to do. But the first step is that we need that socket file. So if we go back to our terminal, we don't change the plugin, we stop it, we start it again, and now we can look at myplugin.out, and this is our socket file. So this was as expected, but it's cool to see exactly how it is. This is really what happened at that moment after when we handle the init request of LightningD when we start our plugin. So we no longer need that things. We can go back to the implementation of the plugin. We comment out this, that we are not going to use it after, and maybe something that we are going to take the path. So my plugin here, and the best way I found to try to understand how LightningRpc is implemented and how to share this with you is to do it, let's say by hand here, and to compare with the implementation at the end. So we are going to do it here to send a getinfo request to LightningD via Unix sockets, and receive the request, and we are going to look after at the end of the methods that are used and the class that are used by LN-client. But first we need the path to connect to our node. So here, this is not self, this is plugin. So this should work as we expect. We no longer use this one to the node ID, because we are going to do it by ourselves. As we use os, we need to import os plugin package, and now maybe we can do something like that, and just it's better to check that we are doing the right things at the right moment, and if we have some errors, it's better to get them right now. So now we get the path that we are going to use to connect through Unix sockets to our node. Let's see if the path is correct. So now we stop again the plugin, we start it again, and now we call this, and we get the path. So here we have the socket files that we can use to talk to the node 1, the node that starts the plugin. So, okay, so second step, what do we need to do, and what plugin.rpc.getInfo needs to do is to do a connection with the node via sockets. So in Python we write this like that. So I have a snippet to do that. So first here we have Unix sockets, which is a stream that we name S. Then we connect to the path. So we connect to the node with the sockets that we've seen just here, and we have to send something. So what do we send to LightningD? What we send is JSON-RPC request, which has as a method getInfo. Okay. So this is what we are going to do. So this is here, when we send that things, we have to define it before. So here, wait a moment, we are going to call it getInfo. So this is a JSON-RPC request. Params, there is no params because getInfo don't take params, so we have the empty array, and we pass the method which is getInfo. So this is what, and we have the ID which is 1. We don't care. We do we have to pass no, we should pass a unique ID, but I think. But anyway, what's important is that when we send that request, is that LightningD answer with the ID we gave to LightningD. So here is our request as a dictionary. So now we have to send that. So we are going to array send all, take bytes here. So we have to change that. So here JSON, we have to, so it's dumps, we have to serialize the getInfo request, and we want it UTF-8. So here we have, this is what we send to LightningD. As we're using socket, so we need socket, and we need also JSON. And now we are, then when we've sent, so we connect, we send, we receive something, and here we take some of those things, and now we can pass the response to representation. What we receive is a byte string, so response, we can just start with that and look at the shape of the response that we received after sending the getInfo request to LightningD. So same thing that we did before, we stop again, we start the plugin again, and now we should have, let's see what we should have the, okay, the response as the byte string representation. So this is what we have. So here in the, we have the response, JSON-RPC field, ID field, and we are interested in the result field that have the ID and other information, but we are interested in the ID. So here what we did, we have the path, then we write the request that we want to send to LightningD, but before we have to use the socket file to connect to LightningD, what we do here. Then we send the getInfo request that we first deserialized. Then we receive something, and we get what the answer. And here we return that answer in the plugin. But what we want is a node ID. So what we can do now, it's almost done with that part. So node ID. So let me think what we need. So this, okay, JSON. So now we say serialize the responses that we get, and we want the result, and in the result we want the ID. So now we can go back to that one in the object that we return. So now we can return the node ID, and let's see if we did the thing correctly. So here we are, and now we can stop again the plugin. We can start the plugin again, and we have the node ID. Okay, cool. So we remove that, and we can do something like this. So we have everything on the screen. So we are almost done. Now we are going to go through the implementation of LightningRpc and see and look for the socket connection, when we send the thing, when we received, and when we write the request. We've already seen when we get the path. So this is done at when we answer to the init request at startup from LightningD. So okay, so now let's go and look for get info in LightningRpc. So this is defined in BAM, and we want pyln-client, and now we are going to go to LightningPy. So okay, so we have it here. So this is the file. This is the file. So we have the Unix sockets, which is a wrapper to do the connection. Here we have LightningRpc, and we are looking to that one. Okay, so we don't have to look at everything. I just want to go through quickly to go with you, but it's better if you are interested to read it by yourself. So what we used here, we can see that there is many. I think there are all the command defined by Lightning by core Lightning are have a corresponding method in LightningRpc, but I'm not sure. So let's the one that we have used is get info here. So we narrow and we see, okay, so what are we doing with get info? We are doing a call. So we are going to see what is a call, and we pass it the get info method. Let's see, maybe one other is which had maybe connect blah 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 here, because that one get info. Okay, so in the connect, it's interesting to see the connect. So connect is to is the command to connect to another node, and we can see here the call, how it is done. We have the call, and we have the method connect and the payload. And here the payload, which is defined here, is what goes in the param argument of the request. So we can go back to plugin here, and we see here in our get info request params is empty. So this is why we don't pass blah blah blah. We go here we are our get info. This is why the call has only one argument here. So let's see the call. So call, as LightningRpc is a subclass of Unix domain sockets, we go here, and we have the call. So what is the call? So here, normally we, at some point, let's go back to my plugin. We need, at some point, we need to connect. We need to have something like that. This is something that that we need, and we also need to constrict that request. So let's go back to the call. We log some stuff, blah blah blah, and here we see the first apparition of the socket. So we use the Unix socket class to define our sockets. In Unix socket, this is where we are going to do the connection, but bear with me, we continue a little bit. We are not looking at notifications, so we don't care for that part. And what we are interested here is in that request. So this is really exactly the one that we have here. So LightningRpc, method, params, ID. This is the things that we have. This ID is a unique ID for each different call, so it's done better. If we add a filter, we add the filter to the request, but we don't have in our case. And now, what do we need to do? We need here, once we are connected, we need to send something, so to send the request, and then we need to somewhere to receive the request and the response, and then we do whatever we want with that. So sending is done by ._write object that take the socket, Unix socket object, and that take the request. When it's done, so this socket is the same that is here, so the sock variable, and here this is where we the method ._read object will get us back the answers that we received from LightningD. So this is done here. Some check are done there. If there are some problem with the ID, which is not the, if LightningD, for instance, answer with an ID that is not the one that we send, we are not happy, we raised an error, and then we close. So here, in our case, we don't have to close, because when we go out of this expression, this block, the socket is closed automatically. So let's go back to plugin, to Lightning. And okay, so we need the last one is we want to return something. So what we return is a response, which is going to be an object, and we want the result, as we did in my plugin here, that we can see that we have the response, but the response has the JSON-RPC, it has the result, the ID field, it has also the result field, and we are interested in the result. So Lightning, we go back to Lightning. So this is where the things happen, and maybe I hope I'm clear and you want to look at the code, but now the Unix socket when it is started. So let's see the connect. Okay, so here we focus only in the Unix socket, and we are going to see the connect aspect. So here is the method connect that is used, and we see here that we used the socket.socket family Unix kind of socket. It's sock stream. We set the property sock, then we use it as it is a socket object that we connect to the path. here, this is really an interesting part that I really didn't know about. I let you go through that one. So we can. This is when the socket files is too big on Linux. It's too big on Linux system. So really interesting. So you can go to see that. Here, the send all method that we are here take byte here and use the send alls, the same that we used in my plugin we used there. Okay, so we've seen all of those things, and at some point we are needing to get what we received, and here this is what we do. The sock we received, and we are done. The last part is, so we have the read object, so it's done with the socket, and it will read what we received. On the right one, here, this is exactly what we've done also. So we have the socket, we have the object, we serialize the object, we make this bytes, and we send that with a sock send all that we've seen just before, which is a method of the Unix socket class. So let's go back to my plugin here. This is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope all we did with those 3 episodes about the implementation of pyln-client are interesting, and maybe you've learned some stuff inside those videos, and it gives you how to say that I hope you want to go through the code by yourself, and that's it. So see you in the next video. Have a great time.